Dustin looked at Hondo. Find anything? Yeah, Hondo said. Found an old hand pump and a cut piece of water hose. I was going to try to rig it up and stick it down in the fuel tank, see if I can get some. Dustin nodded. Worth a shot. Night settled in around them, quiet but watchful. After Hondo finished rigging up his homemade pump and fueling the truck, he gave the Power Wagon a slow, careful look over. Bullet holes aside, everything still felt solid. She'd get them farther yet. He headed back toward the others, who had gathered behind the old store where an oil lamp burned soft and yellow, pushing the darkness back just enough. Small talk drifted through the night. Ashley noticed him first. Hondo, she said, are you hungry? Before he could answer, Dink spoke up. I'm starving, he said. Hungry enough to eat the backside of a mule. Yes, ma'am, Hondo said with a small nod. Ashley disappeared into the store and came back with canned food, setting it out for everyone. Sorry it ain't a better meal, she said. With no power, it's hard to cook. This is fine, Hondo said. Well, it'll work for now, I reckon, Dink added. Joyce elbowed him in the side. Hush with that, Dink. This is fine, Ashley. Thank you. Dustin cleared his throat. So where y'all headed again? You said Hot Springs? Yes, sir, Hondo said. My family's up there. At my daughter's house. His thoughts drifted after that, pulling him north, away from the lamplight and the food. Seeing it, Dustin turned to Dink. What do you think's really going on out there? Dink shrugged. Hard to say. But I do know some things still work. Handheld radios. CBs. Old stuff. Dustin's eyes lit up a little. Hey, I think we might have an old CB in that shed out back. If you want it, Hondo, I can go look. Hondo snapped back to the moment. Yeah, he said. That'd be good. And if I remember right, one of my daughter's neighbors has a base station. Might be able to reach him. Dustin headed for the shed and came back a few minutes later carrying an old CB radio. He set it on the table. I don't know if it still works or not, he said, but you're welcome to it. Thank you, Hondo said. I'll work on it in the morning, once there's some daylight. Ashley spoke up again. I've got a spare room if anyone wants to sleep inside. Hondo shook his head. Dink and Joyce can take the room. I'll sleep in the truck with Atlas. If there's any trouble in the night, he'll wake me. No one argued. One by one, they drifted off, Ashley and Dustin inside, Dink and Joyce to the spare room. Hondo and Atlas walked back to the Power Wagon. Hondo climbed in, Atlas settling close beside him, the cab quiet except for the night sounds beyond the glass. The oil lamp flickered behind the store. And for the first time all day, Hondo let himself rest, just a little. Morning after the gas station. Hondo was standing in the yard back home. The sun was low, throwing long shadows across the grass, the way it did in the evenings when work was done and the day finally slowed down. Lane's laughter carried through the air, clear and bright, the sound bouncing off the trees. Hondo turned and saw him running, arms pumping, face red from smiling too hard. Annie was there too. She walked toward him across the yard, barefoot, her dark hair catching the light. Her eyes, those green eyes with the fire in them, never left his. She smiled the way she always did, like everything was exactly how it was supposed to be. Hondo stepped forward. Just as their hands were about to touch, he jolted awake. The cab of the truck was dark and still, the smell of oil and old vinyl heavy in the air. Sweat soaked the back of his shirt, his chest rising and falling fast like he'd been running. For a split second, he didn't know where he was, just that the dream had been ripped away too soon. Atlas lifted his head from the floorboard. The big dog leaned in, pressing his massive head against Hondo's chest, a low rumble rolling out of him, not a growl, just reassurance. Hondo rested his hand on Atlas's neck, fingers digging into thick fur until his breathing slowed. Easy boy, he whispered. I'm good. But he wasn't. Not really. He stared out through the cracked windshield at the faint gray line of dawn starting to creep over the trees. Annie's face was still there behind his eyes. Lane's laugh echoed in his ears like it had been real. Hondo wiped his face and sat up straighter. That dream didn't weaken him. It lit something in him. Whatever was happening out there, EMP, collapse, madness, it didn't matter. Roads could be blocked. People could turn mean. The world could burn itself down if it wanted to. He was still going north. Still going to Hot Springs. Still getting to his family. Atlas shifted, settling back down, but keeping one eye open. Hondo reached forward and rested his hand on the steering wheel, feeling the familiar worn leather under his palm. Soon, he said quietly, we're coming. Early morning came quiet. Hondo had been awake for a while, long before the sun cleared the tree line. The dream had left him restless, his chest tight, his thoughts louder than the cicadas. Atlas lay beside the truck, head on his paws, eyes open and watching the world like he always did. With nothing else to do but wait on daylight, Hondo set to work. He had the old CB radio laid out on the hood, wires spread like veins across the faded paint. The truck was familiar under his hands, the dents, the scratches, the places his father's hands had once rested. Atlas shifted closer, tail thumping once against the dirt as Hondo worked. Just him, his dog, his truck, and the road still waiting. Behind him, boots shuffled on gravel. "Well," Dink said, voice thick with sleep, "you're up early for a man who damn near got himself shot yesterday." Hondo glanced over his shoulder. "Couldn't sleep much." Dink nodded like he understood that kind of thing. "What are you tinkering with?" "CB radio," Hondo said. "Found it last night. Figured I'd see if I can get it working." Dink leaned in, hands on his hips. "Trying to call for help?" "Maybe," Hondo said. "My daughter's neighbor, good folks. Met em a few times over the years. Bit paranoid. Heavy into prepping. If anyone's still got a base station running, it'd be them." Dink grinned. Paranoid people usually live longer. Before Hondo could answer, Joyce's voice floated from the porch. "Dink," she called, "you want coffee, or you just gonna supervise and complain all morning?" Dink straightened up. "Can't you see I'm helping Hondo hook up this radio?" Joyce stepped closer, hands on her hips, smiling. "You don't know the first thing about radios." Dink scoffed. "I know enough to tell when someone's doing it wrong." Hondo laughed quietly, the sound surprising even himself. Watching them bicker, easy, familiar, it stirred something old in him. A way of living that didn't rush, didn't depend on screens or signals. Just people, talking face to face, getting by together. It felt right. By the time the sun climbed higher, the radio was mounted, wires tucked away. Atlas stretched and shook, ready to move. Joyce and Dink gathered their things. Ashley and Dustin came out to see them off, coffee steaming in their hands. "Y'all be careful," Ashley said. "We will," Hondo replied. "If I make it back down this way, I'll stop in. Check on you." Dustin nodded. "We'll be here." Engines turned over. Doors shut. The road called again. As Hondo pulled away, he glanced once more at the mirror, at the people standing there, waving, and then forward northbound. Toward Arkansas. Toward Hot Springs. Toward his family. Whatever this world had turned into, whatever waited ahead, Hondo knew one thing for certain now. Nothing was going to stop him from getting to them. The road rolled out ahead of them, empty and quiet, the way it had been most of the morning. Trees blurred past on either side, the truck's engine humming steady, familiar. Atlas lay stretched across the floorboard, head lifted just enough to watch the windshield. Hondo reached up and turned on the CB. The cab filled instantly with noise, high-pitched squeals, bursts of static, broken fragments of sound that didn't mean anything yet. Joyce flinched a little and chuckled. "Well, that's lively." Hondo nodded, one hand already on the knobs. "Gotta tune it. Ain't gonna sound right till you dial it in." He worked the controls slowly, careful, like he was handling something fragile. The noise shifted and changed, static thinning, squeals dropping away, the hum settling into something almost quiet. Dink leaned forward between the seats. "Sounds like a raccoon stuck in a tin can." "Give a second," Hondo said. He twisted the knob one more time and set the channel. The static dropped to a low hiss, steady and patient. Hondo took a breath, thumb resting on the mic. This was the first time he'd tried reaching out since everything went dark. "Hondo to 2 guns," he said evenly. "2 guns, this is Hondo. You copy?" Only static answered him. He waited a few seconds, eyes on the road, grip tightening just a little on the steering wheel. "Hondo to 2 guns," he tried again. "If you're out there, come back." Nothing. Hondo exhaled slowly and set the mic back in its cradle. "Damn," he muttered. "Guess we're still out of range." Joyce watched his face, said nothing. "I'll keep trying," Hondo added after a moment, more to himself than anyone else. "Sooner or later, we'll hear something." The truck rolled on, the CB whispering static in the background, waiting. Early morning light filtered weakly through the small basement windows, turning the concrete walls a dull gray. The air smelled like dust, old wood, and burnt coffee. Tony sat hunched over the base station, headset pressed tight to his ears, one hand riding the volume knob, like it might bolt if he let go. Static filled the room, steady and endless, broken now and then by pops and warbles that went nowhere. He leaned closer, jaw tight. "Come on," he muttered. "Somebody's got to be talking." A hand tapped his shoulder. "Shit." Tony barked, jerking upright and nearly knocking his chair over. Ramona stood behind him, coffee mug in hand, eyebrow raised. "I was going to ask if you wanted coffee, not shoot you." Tony pulled the headset off halfway, static still hissing faintly from the ear cups. "Woman, you're going to put me in an early grave." "You've been saying that for 20 years, she replied, handing him the mug. "You hear anything yet?" Tony took a sip, shook his head. "Nothing. Just noise. But I'm telling you, this ain't an accident. Government's behind it. Grid failures don't just." A sound cut through the static. Faint. Broken. Almost lost. "Two guns, th is. Hondo, do why, read me." Tony froze. His eyes widened. "Wait," he said sharp. "Did you hear that?" Ramona leaned in. "Hear what?" Tony was already grabbing a headset, heart hammering as he jammed it back over his ears, fingers flying to the knobs. "Hondo," he said into the mic, disbelief creeping into his voice. "Hondo, say again. This is two guns." Static surged, then dipped, the signal hovering just out of reach. Tony pulled one ear cup back and looked at Ramona, voice low but certain. That sounded like Hondo. Tony tried again. He leaned into the base station, voice steady but urgent. "Two guns to Hondo. Hondo, you copy? Come back." Only static answered him this time, thicker than before, like the signal was slipping away on purpose. Tony pulled the headset off, frustration written all over his face. "Damn it," he muttered. "I know I heard him." Ramona watched him for a moment, then set her mug down. "Tony," she said calmly, "we should go tell Annie." Tony looked up. "Now." "Yes, now. She deserves to know. Even if it was just for a second." They stepped out into the morning air and walked next door. Annie sat on the front porch with Cheyenne, both holding coffee mugs that had long since gone untouched. Annie stared out across the yard, worry etched into her face. Not panic, not fear exactly, just the constant ache of waiting. She knew Hondo. She knew nothing would stop him from coming. But knowing didn't stop the worry. Cheyenne spotted them first. "Mama," she said quietly, "Tony and Ramona are coming up the drive." Tony reached the porch before Ramona, already talking. "We heard something. I think I did. Well, it sounded like—" "Tony," Ramona said gently, putting a hand on his arm, "slow down." Annie stood. "What's going on?" Ramona took a breath. "We heard Hondo on the radio this morning. Just for a moment. The signal was weak, but I'm sure of it." Annie's hand went to her mouth. Tears came fast, relief and worry tangled together, as her knees almost gave out. Cheyenne stepped in, wrapping an arm around her, holding her steady. "He's alive," Annie whispered. "I knew it." The screen door creaked open behind them. Lane stepped out, Maverick right on his heels, Dylan following close behind. "What's wrong?" Dylan asked. Cheyenne wiped at Annie's tears and explained. Dylan nodded slowly, thinking it through. "If he's using a CB, he must be getting closer. Those hills and trees around here, they can mess with a signal real bad. Especially if he's still a ways out." Annie closed her eyes for a moment, breathing it in. "He's coming," she said softly. "I know he is." And for the first time since the world went quiet, the waiting felt just a little more bearable.